Why not?
Welcome back, you guys. Welcome back to Moving People to Action. The people are rising. Town hall meeting. We're talking about the vaccine and COVID-19, and I want to thank our panelists. Thank you so much for taking the time. This is so important as we look at solutions and things to drive down this insidious virus called COVID-19. And so, just real quick, Seneca, you're involved really in the research. You're CEO of Quality Clinical Research. And one, I want to thank you for being a sponsor tonight because that's so important that we have sponsors. Also, Creighton University Reach. Want to thank Dr. Brown, and then want to thank Department of Health and Human Services, CEO Smith. Thank you guys for being a sponsor as well. Talk about, I mean, Seneca, in terms of just people are, of course, they're contracting that. There's different levels of risk once you get it. Talk us through that a little bit and what you are looking for to help you guys in your next trials as we try to not only mitigate what risks and come up with solutions to keep people from dying.
Well, like you said, there's different degrees of COVID in a sense of when it comes to the symptoms. You have your severe, which requires you to be hospitalized. And then you have your mild symptoms, which are the
Right.
body aches, the fevers, and the chills. And they range in severity on all different levels, just kind of depends on the person. And so the studies we're working on now, we have one inpatient with it. We're working with Methodist Hospital, Dr. Brian Hullis and Rudy Katula. One's an infectious disease, and the other one is an internal medicine hospitalist physician. And if you're admitted and your oxygen levels below 94, this study will probably be a good fit for you. Um, there's an inclusion criteria you have to admit, but what we're seeing is the drug is actually working. It's getting people discharged faster and getting off an oxygen. For the other people who right now are just suffering through the symptoms, we have three other trials that are looking for patients who are mild to moderate, meaning you have the body aches, you have the loss of taste, smell, chills, fevers, all that good stuff. And we're trying remdesivir is one of the drugs, and then Eli Lilly has three other compounds that they're working on, and we're trying to help those get FDA approved. And so we're looking for anyone who has tested positive within the last 4 days, and
Okay.
get a hold of us. And we're
And
looking
how
for,
can they do that?
so I put it in the chat, but our website, qcromaha.com, our phone number, 402-934-0044. Just give us a call, and we will screen you over the phone to make sure you qualify. It is an hour IV infusion. There is physicians that are there, there's nursing staff that are there, and we're monitoring you every step of the way. And then after that, you'll go out after your infusion, and then you'll be on the study for 28 days, and you'll keep a diary. And pretty much it's a symptom diary to see if how long your symptoms are lasting, and how quick are you getting back to normal life.
Now, just real quick, Seneca, for the ones that just when you think of clinical trials and just this, and because of our history, what's so different about what happened back in the day? Your Tuskegee Airmen and all of that, the Tuskegee Institute
You know,
compared to what's happening now.
so for the Tuskegee Airmen or the Institute, and then you also have the sterilization trials in New York.
Right.
All that stuff has brought in what we now call um, um, Now I'm drawing a blank.
Okay.
One of the major,
Contagious.
yes, yeah, one of the major
What do you say, Jerry?
I said it's contagious.
Contagious. Okay.
one of the major documents is informed consent. Everyone signs informed consent document, and that document will
So
tell you,
this is not a forced kind of thing.
no. You have the right.
In and out.
Yeah, you can sign that document, and 5 minutes later, you can say you don't want to do it.
Okay.
At any time, you can say you don't want to do it, and
Okay.
that is all come from those two major incidents in research history, and many other ones. There's a lot of stuff that's happened overseas in World War II where people were subjected to clinical trials and they didn't even know they were part of it. So the main one is that you have full rights to know what's going on with you, and then you have the full right to drop out at any time. Now
That's important.
yes, that is very important. You know, a lot of people are scared of the IV infusion. Why isn't the IV? Why is it not oral, or why is it not a spray? Well, it starts IV and then eventually it works into an oral compound or even goes as further to an over the counter, but it has to start in this form and then we take it to the next. You know, there's a lot of groundbreaking stuff happening right here in Omaha, and I just encourage people, you know, if you got COVID right now, there's not too much for you. You know, especially if you're not hospitalized. You know, I hear a lot of zinc and elderberries and all that other stuff that's
About
got.
aronia, I take aronia berries.
Yeah. And I encourage people to continue taking that to help prevent. But if you do have COVID and you're symptomatic right now, you might as well enroll into a trial. You know, you either will get a drug or you'll get a bag of IV fluids. It's still going to make you feel somewhat better that day.
Okay, that's good. That's good word. That's good information. And so Jerry and Sarah, as we look at really, folks wanting to know where we're at, who's next, when you're gonna get to me, what are we doing in terms of dashboards and roll out so people can have more information, and where should they go to look at is it time for them to get the vaccine and get vaccinated?
I'd recommend that folks visit the dhhs.ne.gov website. It's got a really nice coronavirus page, and beginning either over the weekend or early next week, we will have a dashboard live that will help track how many vaccines have come into the state, how many have been administered, that sort of thing. People can kind of dig into some of those metrics as much as they like and kind of monitor progress.
That's good. That's good. Now, I was going to add, before we get to you, Dr. Brown, this whole thing of, and Dr. Brown, in terms of this outreach, you guys, got 48, health outreach workers and so on. What, and then maybe anyone can kind of weigh in on this, but my question and the conversation, I want to have some conversation around this in terms of just when people, they're at home, they go to the hospital and the symptoms are not at a point where they have to be hospitalized, but they send them home. And we're seeing on Facebook and all these other places, sometimes they're sending them home and they end up dying at home. It could be the oxygen. So Sydney, you said when it drops below, what is the survival bag or some things that they should be if you're sent home? And I know, I don't know, we want to, for full disclosure, it's just more kind of just some common sense kind of things that we may be able to tell folks. If your oxygen drop below this, I mean, what give me some of those things. Seneca, you want to
I think
start?
that'd be
Oh,
Dr. Brown Seneca.
Sorry. Well, I mean, I go back. I will go off of what I'm not a physician, so
Right.
I
And that's a full disclosure. We're not.
yeah,
But
yeah.
So I do understand that. But
No, I will go based off of our protocol, which are inclusion exclusion, and so for a patient that's hospitalized and your oxygen level is below 94, you have an option to get into this study. For our outpatient studies, if your oxygen level is above 95, you qualify, because if you're below 95, we're sending you to the ER. And so,
right. That's my point. That's my point.
yes.
Mhm.
There's the post-ox meteors you can get at Walgreens. They're usually, you can find the ones that stick on your finger, and that will tell you your oxygen level. When it comes to symptoms, the breathing, the respiratory is your biggest indication of why you should go to the hospital. And they're going to hook you up to a post-ox machine, and they're going to test your oxygen level and see how high or how low you are. And that's really the final, I won't say the final verdict to keep you in or not, because if you have underlying conditions, they may keep you too. But for a healthy individual, you come in with anything higher than 95, you're probably going to go home.
Okay.
And at that point, I would encourage you to call us, because then you can enroll into one of our trials and at least get a chance to get remdesivir or whatever medication we're studying at that time.
So that number, really is when you start to hit that flag below 94.
Yeah, and you're going to know it because you're having trouble breathing. I mean,
Yeah.
you're gonna, and even besides a number, trust your body. I mean, you know it, you know yourself better than a machine's going to. I mean, those readings have a plus or minus reading of error, and so if you're having trouble breathing, yeah, go to the ER. And let a doctor assess you, and then from there you have a plan B. Your oxygen levels too high to be admitted, but you're still suffering from the symptoms, then you move to plan B.
Now, Seneca, in terms of if given the option of the two vaccines that's out there, is there a preference for one, and why?
I would say no. They're both RNA molecules. The only difference is Pfizer is stored a little bit different. At -80 versus Moderna is, I think it's -20. There is none now.
So if it's not that much different, why is it stored so different? I mean, that's a big, difference in terms of just how it's, because a lot of times the challenge is just, it's how it's stored.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing with the -80 is just Pfizer redefining the drug, making sure that it's 100% stable at -20 and at room temperature. There's also other vaccines that are coming that are protein based.
Yeah. Okay.
And so, as we continue developing vaccines, Pfizer, Moderna is not going to be able to vaccinate the world by themselves. There's going to take other companies to do it. And so I continue to encourage people, especially those people that are healthy, who are going to be last on the food chain to receive those vaccines, participate in a clinical trial somewhere. That way you actually have a chance to get a vaccine maybe earlier. And as they continue developing, they'll eventually have to test their vaccine against Moderna and Pfizer to make sure that this is worth investing money on. There's no point of, if Pfizer is 95% effective, developing something that is 65 or 75% effective.
And Jerry, do we have a preference in terms of the state in Nebraska as far as which one, Pfizer or the other parts? Just which one?
Pfizer or the Moderna?
Yeah, Moderna. Yeah.
I will say that we're grateful for both. In my perspective, and the people that I work with, we're grateful for any product that's going to help Nebraskans.
So
and
we
the
probably
nation
use
feel
it
better. Logistically, logistically, it is easier to move the Moderna and maintain the cold chain than it is with the Pfizer.
Yeah.
Not of vaccine is maintained at that temperature. So a lot of the groups or the providers that we work with, they don't have that kind of storage
Yeah.
with the vaccines for children programs. So, you know, if you're going to use Pfizer, we have to make sure that they are able to maintain the temperature and monitor it at all times and move it appropriately. With the Moderna, there's a little bit more flexibility. It's not as delicate, and it also comes in a minimum dose of 100. So it's that is also easier for us to send to providers. You know, if we send Pfizer, that's at 975 is the minimum dose or the minimum package that you're going to get, and so we also have to look at, can you move it? Can you move it fast, safely, and effectively? You know, saving the efficacy. So
Yeah,
we're fine with either.
Yeah, we're teaming up with Urgent Cares because we have the big -80 refrigerators, and
There you go.
we've been contacted by a lot of people to say, hey, I know you worked on it. Do you have room in your freezers? And I'm like, yeah, we still have the vaccine in house. But yeah, we can store more. And so we've been getting contact left and right to say, hey, can we use your -80s until we get the vaccine? So we're willing to help in different ways.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good.
Thank you. Thank you.
I had to sign up for your trial there. So Dr. Brown, when we look at the outreach, the work, and really just what is the message? Because as Jerry and Syndica, we talked and about it could be the end of next year for some folks in terms of just if they're at a low risk actually getting this vaccine. And so we still got to practice, preventative kind of things to help get us to the vaccination and to the vaccine. So what would you say, some things that we got to still just stick to our guns on? What are those?
Well, I think it's very important now that we have the vaccine to continue to keep on the minds of individuals that we still have to practice all those safe measures. And I want to say something about the reason that we should take the vaccine. And I know that all of us are probably going to take it, and there's lots of folks that have to convince, but there's still people who are not going to take it. I mean, last statistics was that 51% of the population in the United States are skeptical about taking it. And so what I want to say about that is that there are compelling reasons to take the vaccine. First of all, it will save your life and the lives of your loved ones and your relatives, and you live longer than perhaps you will if you do not take it. Secondly, it is proven to be safe. The clinical trials that were mentioned, and Seneca went into some of the details of it, but the old technology is the old technology. This is new technology. It is safe. It does work. And everyone has to make a decision about whether the risks are going to outweigh the benefits. And for me, I say the benefits are absolutely greater than the risk. Now, there's been, 3 million or so vaccinated now, and I think maybe 5 or 6 reactions. I may not have the statistics right, but it's minuscule, okay? And so the reason to take the vaccine is clear. And if you fit the description, elderly, over 65, and have some underlying conditions that you don't want this virus to impact, you need to take the vaccine. Secondly, Seneca touched upon Tuskegee experiments. That is in the minds of lots of people. Most people I talk to, especially Black folk, that's the first thing that comes out of their mouth. Okay, it is real, and so we have to acknowledge it. We must not gloss over it and ignore it. the Tuskegee experiment. And again, the young people don't even know what happened, can't even tell you about it, but they heard that there was an experiment, so I'm not taking it. Okay. And so the subjects that were in that experiment, of course, had syphilis, and they were not treated for it. And some people saying, oh, they gave them syphilis. No, they had syphilis. It's about 600 people, shareholders. And they just did not treat them and didn't tell them they weren't treating them. Matter of fact, they lied to them and told them that they were treating them. Now, I have been to Tuskegee several times. When I ran my first community health center back in the 70s, it was only 5 years after the experiment stopped. This was 40 years that they allowed these men to go untreated for syphilis. Now, I have seen these men. I've been in that hospital. I have interacted with those individuals. As a previous, what they used to call venereal disease investigator, I have seen the disease. I've seen the spirochetes. I've seen the primary, the secondary, the latent and tertiary stages of syphilis. And I just want to say to people, this is not that, okay? This virus is real. Its only mission is to kill, okay? That's one of the slogans we use with our ambassadors to get them to talk to people about the reality of this. One of the other slogans, of course, is that we should listen to the scientists and public health reps and be smart and follow all the safety steps and not pay attention to all of that silly stuff that's out there. Another slogan was wash your hands and sanitize as often as you can, avoid large crowds and wear a mask, protect your fellow woman and man. We need to still do those things from now till the summer probably, and until we get that herd immunity, as was mentioned. So those are the things that I would say that we need to do. And again, the communication is important. The people who are delivering the communication is important, because it has to be people that they know, that they believe in and they respect. And I want to say something about these people who say they have these rights that they don't want the government to infringe upon, that they don't want people telling them what to do. Well, I mean, we all know that. We already are being told that we got to have insurance on all our cars. We got to wear seat belts and helmets. We've already been told, and we're living by that.
Fact.
Okay. And
that is true.
In terms of rights, you can say, yeah, you got rights. You got the right not to stop at a stop sign when you get there in your car. That's your right. But give up that right one time, two times, I don't know how many times, you will die. I guarantee you. So these rights, you have to use some logic, some intelligence, and make some sense. And one more thing. A lot of the young people, of course, I'm sure the older people know, but they have not seen measles, mumps, diphtheria, polio. They have not seen these things. Some of us here, we have seen that, and the benefits outweigh the risk of being in that kind of situation. And so my message has been, and it's on radio and it's, some TV and we did some music. We actually got the grassroots people, a young lady, Spanish woman who did a rap for us, a young man, North Omaha did a rap for us. And it's being played on the radio and some other places.
I think we played a little bit tonight, Dr. Brown.
You did?
I think we played a little bit of it tonight, yeah.
Great. The purpose was to get the message down in the minds and the people who are most likely to be vulnerable and who may not pay attention to mainstream. And so again, messaging is so important. We got to keep delivering the message, and through the means and the media and the people who will respect it. And we've had people we know have said they weren't going to take it, but by the time they went through our 8-week program and gave them all the information and the facts and the evidence, they decided to take it. So that's my message and question, answer to the question that you asked about what we should be doing.
Okay, Dr. Brown, this 8-week program, was that just for your ambassadors?
Yeah, it was just for the ambassadors that came from public housing and
Okay.
churches, and some from One World, some from Charles Drew, and some of the other communities. But they took that message out to their respective networks and communities. And so we've been in touch with at least 40,000 people we've impacted. And as they went through a process of gathering information, observing people, it's 2,000 or 3,000 observations that they've made in terms of people, whether they're wearing their masks, whether they're standing too close to each other, whether they're using sanitizing techniques, whether they're being safe. And so all that data has been gathered throughout this program, and we will be utilizing that to, again, communicate. We actually will do a refereed publication on the subject as to how we did what we did. And I really think, and I am blowing my own whistle here, I really think that what we've done, has implications at the national level. I don't know who else is going into public housing, which is the most vulnerable people in our United States, and teaching and training and empowering them and developing leadership in this area, that they go out and they're the ones that are convincing those others about the disease and helping them to make informed decisions about taking this vaccine. So
Awesome. Dr. Brown, I don't want to put you on the spot, but you're an artist, you're an entertainer. I would love to hear a little bit of your rap, man, that you kind of authored and put together.
I know you were going to do that to me.
So you do. You stay ready so you don't have to get ready, huh?
So as I mentioned, I wrote some lyrics about this.
Okay, see, I didn't know y'all was going to get entertained tonight. Huh?
I wrote some lyrics, and these are the lyrics that I shared with the two local artists that I mentioned. Pocket Pete is one, and the other one is the Spanish girl, Alexia Ari. But this is how it went. Omaha, Omaha, give me your attention, please. There's a vicious virus among us, a ferocious, deadly disease. It jumps from people to people through your eyes and nose and mouth. It's in the east, it's in the west, it's in the north, and it's in the south. So wash your hands and sanitize as often as you can. Avoid large crowds and wear a mask. Protect your fellow woman and man. Listen, my brothers and sisters, take control of your life. Our entire family matters. Get smart and join the fight. Now, here's the deal, and I'm keeping it real because this is not the flu. Research and science and evidence tell us exactly what we must do. Wash your hands and sanitize as often as you can. Avoid large crowds and wear a mask. Protect your fellow woman and man. Practice physical distancing, follow science and public health reps. Stop the corona from spreading. Just follow the safety steps. Wash your hands, sanitize as often as you can, avoid large crowds and wear a mask, protect your fellow woman and man. So they did this to music, and it really sounds pretty good, and I hope you were able to play it, and thank you. Yeah. And we intend to continue to get that out on the radio. I know 95.7 has played it, and is playing it regularly, and 103.1. And so we want to try and push that some more, because the challenge now, as you know, is to get people to take the vaccine. And so we must stay safe until we can get the vaccine and achieve that herd immunity. So that's my message.
Right on. Thank you, Dr. Brown. Appreciate your commitment and your innovation and really drilling it down to the people. And I think I've heard over and over you saying it's not so much the message, it's the messenger. And as you empower people to have these conversations in their own communities, neighborhoods, homes, we're starting to get this awakening that, you know what? Yes, I am going to take the vaccine. So as we close, everyone, and to really, to give you an opportunity to weigh in on, folks out there that feel that this is not safe, and if we want to give them a reason why they should take this vaccine, what comes to mind as we close? And so as you think about your closing statement, just, I think let's think of something that would help encourage people to really take a serious look at doing right for themselves, but also for people around them and taking the vaccine. So who want to start? I know Dr. Brown, you kind of, you laid it out for everybody, so you set the tone, but Jerry, Sarah, Semiotica, what would you say in terms of just why should people consider taking this vaccine?
I would just echo some of what Dr. Brown already said, because he just put it out there so eloquently. But the science is out there, so educate yourself. Don't sort of listen to some of the echo chamber or the nonsense that's on social media. And the risks, the benefits definitely outweigh the risks. There might be some risk there, and concerns are definitely justified, but the benefits are so much bigger. And he said it much better than I can, but those were the two key things that really resonate with me.
Okay. Symbiotic, Syndicate?
Yeah, you're gonna get my name right one
I
of
don't.
No, I'm gonna, do the same and echo Dr. Brown here. I mean, I seen a quote the other day that said, if you haven't had chicken pox, measles, or polio, thank everyone around you. This is kind of the same case. Everyone needs to get the vaccines to protect either that one individual who will not, or to protect everyone. I do have one other link. It's called clinicaltrials.gov. And that will give you all the history of this RNA molecule for Pfizer and Moderna, and really any other vaccine that are out there in a pipeline. It's called clinicaltrials.gov. If you type in Corona or COVID-19, it's going to give you a list of everything. If you type in Pfizer, it'll give you the whole background of what has been going on and the known side effects. It'll give you everything. Also visit their websites. Pfizer's website is full of their COVID information. Same thing with Moderna.
So it's really like people trying to hide information or
there's no, educate yourself, is the key. I know we're on Facebook, but everything on Facebook isn't right, and everything that your auntie tells you isn't right either. And so you really have to trust your own eyes and ears, and do your homework.
Do your homework. Jerry, anything you want to add?
Yeah. Well, I think these are all tough acts to follow. And they all have said basically the same thing that I am going to say. And I think that people need to do their homework. If they want to discuss theories and history, do that. Validate what you're hearing. But don't be afraid to discuss facts too. I know that it might not be as titillating, but if you discuss facts, you can find your way forward. Talk to people that you trust. Make sure that you talk to your provider. And I cannot say it enough. When you go to see your provider, before you go, create a list of questions that you have. When you're sitting in front of your doctor, I don't know how many times, you forget what you really wanted to say. And so it's important to write these things down so that when you get there, you have a script to work on. And don't be afraid to advocate for yourselves.
There you go. And ask questions. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, there's a question in the chat. If someone would want to take this on, it says, if you receive the vaccine, can you interact with people outside of your quarantine circle? That's part one of the question. If so, how soon, or should you remain restricted to your current social family circle? Anybody want to take that?
I would say you should remain restricted at least 10 to 14 days, because even though you get the vaccine, it takes the body 10 to 14 days or so to develop the antibodies to fight, against it. So you could take the vaccine today and catch COVID-19 tomorrow, and spread it to somebody else tomorrow or the next day, because your antibodies have not been built up yet, because that's not how it works. You got to have time, 10 to 14 days or so. So again, got to continue to be cautious. That's my thought on that.
I'll tag on. I will add one thing to that, is that's after your second shot. There's 2 shots to this. And so after your second shot, that's when because the first one is just to get the body ready and prepped and start building the antibody. The second one is making you covered. And so it's really 14 days, I would say, after that is what our protocol pretty much read. You're safe to go out.
So you're okay. I want you to say that again, because that's important. So after the first shot, protocol based on what you guys read and what you're practicing is that they should remain quarantined or self-isolated up to 14 days or until that second shot.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a healthcare worker, it's not going to happen. That's your job,
right.
But if you're an average citizen that is working in an office, and you have the luxury to work from home, I would say, after your second shot, if they say go back, then go back. If you're a person that wants to visit the bar, after your second shot, you can go back to hanging out with your friends and friends of friends. I would say you're probably safe by then. But it is a 2-shot injection, and I think so many people focus on that first injection, and we're going to have a lot of people, and I knock on wood that it doesn't happen, that will get that first one and forget about the second one in 19 days. And you have to get that second one, otherwise you're not protected fully.
Yeah, and I think really when you think about the work in terms of your providers and the state, I mean, the first shot is important, but we're not out of the woods until you get that second one. And so, and so I commend everyone, especially the workers out there, the first responders or essential workers. We're in a fight for our life, and so I really commend you guys for your work and what you're doing to really help to do what's necessary to save as many lives as possible. And so with that, I do want to thank you guys for taking the time this evening and spending this time to help. Hopefully that someone has become better knowledgeable and be able to make decisions in terms of doing the right thing and practicing some of the things that Dr. Brown talked about. And then with the information that's going to be on the dashboard with the state, and hopefully, Syndica, we can get some folks to participate in your trials as well. And I like what you said. If you haven't, you might as well, enroll in the trial. You're gonna get probably some of the latest and some of the best, vaccines, that's out there.
Yeah, especially if you test positive, you have symptoms. I'm just pretty much, even friends and family that I know, I'm like, just come and see me. You're at least going to get treated, because otherwise you're just sitting in isolation by yourself. We had a 75-year-old woman come in and participate in one of our tries, and her comment had us all laughing. And she said, listen, I have 2 cats and they don't talk back, and being in my house by myself, this is better than that. She goes, I can sit here for 3 hours with you guys and talk. And I'm like, there you go. At least you have someone to talk to. Otherwise you're isolated.
Yeah.
That's fact. That's fact.
Well, Tim, I just want to say, we talked a lot about why we should take the vaccine. I just want to mention the fact that there are some people who should not take the vaccine. Of course, they need to check with their doctors and make sure who they are. But people who have autoimmune disease or some cancers, and of course, if they're allergic to the vaccine, they should not take it. But always check with your medical provider on that and get those details. But before I go, I want your audience to know that this virus can be beat. Be true and honest with yourself, follow the rules, and do not cheat. It depends on every one of us to stop this deadly virus. COVID-19 is very real. It's a contagious and deadly and mean. If you're melanated, get vaccinated. That's my message.
Hey, say that again. If you what? If you what?
If you're melanated, definitely get vaccinated.
I love it.
Because we know that people of color are most vulnerable.
Right.
So maybe they can remember that at least. If you're melanated, definitely get vaccinated.
I love that. Well, I want to thank our sponsors. I tell you, Dr. Brown, only thing we're missing is your saxophone, man. We'll do your saxophone on the next time.
I missed that as well. That's why I'm getting my shot so I can get back out there. Right now, I'm gonna have to stay at home.
Yeah,
Nice.
That's right. Be safe. But I want to thank our sponsors again. Thank you, Syndica with Quality Clinical Research for being a sponsor, Department of Health and Human Services, Creighton University, the REACH Initiative. Thank you guys for being the sponsors, and PPRP Innovations. I want to thank JanPro, Klinging, and just Empowerment Network. It's just a team of people that really help to make and bring these type of platforms to life. And so we're in it together, right? We're in it together.
Sure.
It's one big family. It's a love thy neighbor. And I tell you, Dr. Brown, you drove home that point about rights, and I think we all together have to hold each other accountable. And if we choose not to do it for self, we got to do it for the people in front of us. Wearing the mask, washing your hands, social distancing. Those are kind of things that's going to help drive down that curve as we fight this crazy virus. And so with that, God bless you and thank you for what you do. Happy New Year, happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, all that happy, right?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
It's got to get better.
It does.
It's gonna get better. and I tell you,
It's going to get better.
Jerry, that whole thing, it's gonna get better. And it's going to get better, most definitely, if each and every one of us do our part. And this is really, truly a team sport, and we got to all do our part and play our part in this.
Thank you, Tim, for hosting this town hall. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. This is an excellent program.
Thank you for inviting us.
Appreciate the opportunity to be here. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
God bless.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
This is Houston Alexander with a public service announcement. Now, today we're living in hard times, and the COVID-19 virus is spreading all across the country. Now, in order for us to be safe in restaurants, in grocery stores, at gas stations, you got to be able to wear one of these. You got to be able to wear a mask. It's really simple. Just put it on when you go in, and when you get up out of the store or out from the gas station, just take it off. I know sometimes it irritates you, but you know what? This is the safest thing we can do to help us with the COVID-19 virus. So please take the time out, put your mask on, and be done with it. Just like I'm doing right now.
Every store I go into, gotta have it on. Yeah, the store Hi, my name is Danette Smith, CEO of DHHS, and I am going to take the COVID-19 vaccine because I'm Big Red responsible. I wear my mask, schedule my flu shot, answer my phone if called by contact tracers, and I avoid the 3 C's: crowded places, close contact, and confined spaces. Please protect yourself and your community. For more information on COVID-19, visit dhhs.ne.gov.
Hey, this is Dr. Brown again from the Creighton University Program and COVID-19 Project. I want to encourage everyone in the community to stay focused on your overall individual health during this pandemic. Do not forget about the chronic diseases that have historically plagued our community, such as diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, cancer, and depression. Listen, the coronavirus is real. Its only mission is to kill. The best way to avoid becoming ill from this disease is to avoid catching it in the first place. How do you do that? The science is clear. Wash your hands and sanitize as often as you can. Avoid large crowds and wear a mask. Protect your fellow woman and man. If you get sick, contact a medical provider. Shelter in place for 14 days if you become exposed to an individual who has been infected. Protect your parents and grandparents. Get tested to learn your status. The coronavirus is real. Its only mission is to kill. This message is brought to you by the Creighton University Health Sciences and Multicultural Affairs Department and supported by a grant from the Douglas County Health Department.
Kool-Aid, you done it again, man.
Wash your hands, wash your hands. Sanitize as often as you can. Wash your hands, wash your hands. Sanitize as often as you can. Go and wash your hands, get your sanitizer. Go and wash your hands, get the sanitizer. Go and wash your hands, get the sanitizer. Go and wash your hands, go and wash your hands. Where your mask at? Put your mask on. If it's too lit, I just stay at home. Catching COVID-19, you be dead wrong. Keep it 6 feet, you be dead gone. I can't move without that mask, it's the same song. Every store I go into, gotta have it on. Yeah, the store empty, but the line long. Trying to use the soap, but it's all phone. It's a deadly virus, better pay attention. People out here dying, y'all better listen. Upper respiratory problems, even chest pains. It don't discriminate, this is not a race thing. Wash your hands, wash your hands. Sanitize as often as you can. Wash your hands.